I suppose, therefore, that this is good for the present distress. Say that it is good for a man so to be. And that concludes that section. And even though in the commentary he puts 26 and 27 together, but we conclude that section. Well, I didn't talk about 26. The present distress was that awful situation in Corinth, which Paul knew was now going to continue. Someone asked me, "Do you think uh, this excessive immorality and this lawlessness in our nation will continue? If it does continue, my friend, it will bring down our houses and destroy our nation. Then it will be ended for sure." And so that concludes that section. Now let me take a couple of drinks before I do the next section. The next section is verse 27 through 28. Verse 27. Art thou bound unto a wife? Seek not to be loosed. Art thou loosed from a wife? Seek not a wife. Now, what does he say? In the present distress, since you have come to Christ at such a difficult time, if you are bound to a wife, stay with her. If you are unsaved, stay with her as long as, if she is unsaved, stay with her as long as you can. If you are not married, then because of the present distress with the tremendous immorality that is here, it would be best for you to remain single. Paul says this is his judgment. Verse 28. Well, what you can say in this day and time is, excuse me, if you can't find a Christian that has the same calling that you do, then you need to remain single. Verse 28. But if thou marry, thou shalt not, thou hast not sinned. And if a virgin marry, she hath not sinned. Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh, but I spare you. Of course, it is not sinful to marry, but the sea of matrimony is rough under the most favorable circumstances. He is trying to save them from much trouble. That reminds me of the country boy who was being married. The preacher said to him, "Wilt thou have this woman to be thy lawfully wedded wife?" The young fellow answered, "I wilt." And I I guess he did. In our day, we are seeing the shipwreck of a growing number of marriages, even among Christians. The divorces in Southern California are now about equal in the number of marriages. And whenever I was in Bible school, actually, divorces among preachers was higher than the average. That reveals we also have a present distress. Now, Paul goes on to discuss other things with them, all in the light of the present distress and the shortness of time, the urgency and immediacy of the hour. He mentions five things which are necessary, which are inevitable, and which are the common experience of mankind in this world. He discusses marriage, sorrow, joy, commerce, and then relation to the world in general. Marriage is the first one he discusses. Sure, Paul says, in effect, it is all right to go ahead and marry. But remember that you will have trouble. And you will. In counseling, I have tried to tell young people that the romantic period will pass. When the first month's rent comes due and there is not much money in that there is not much money in the treasury, believe me, romance flies out the window. That concludes that section.